My wife cheated on me, insisting that I didn't own her and pushing for an open marriage. That was the moment I decided to file for divorce. Life, as it often does, fell into familiar patterns, some comforting, others just plain routine. Most mornings, I'd wake up before dawn, soaking in the quiet stillness before anyone else in the house stirred. Those early hours, accompanied only by the gentle hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the floorboards, were when I felt most at peace. It was my time to think, to remind myself why I had chosen this life. One filled with bursts of happiness mixed with the heavy weight of responsibility. Megan and I met back in college. Our romance was fast and intense, feeling almost too good to be real. She was fiery and determined, the kind of woman who made you believe you could take on the world with her by your side. We tied the knot young, and before long, Jill and Jenny arrived to complete our family. Our daughters were everything to us, full of energy, sharp-witted, and at times driving me crazy in that typical teenage way. Over the years, we found our groove as a family. Megan handled the logistics flawlessly, making sure birthdays were celebrated and dental appointments never slipped through the cracks. Meanwhile, I took pleasure in the simple tasks, fixing a dripping faucet, hosting Sunday barbecues, and being the steady presence my girls could always count on. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Father's Day was one of those rare moments when the spotlight turned my way. Megan and the girls always made me feel appreciated, even if the celebrations were modest. A homemade breakfast, a heartfelt card, and some quality time together. It was more than enough. I never needed extravagant displays. The love we shared was enough. But beneath the surface of our seemingly happy life, I started noticing subtle changes. Megan worked longer hours, smiled less often, and seemed distant, even when she was physically present. At the time, I brushed off these signs as just the result of a busy schedule. Looking back, those moments were warning signals I chose to ignore, guiding me toward a truth I wasn't ready to face. Last Father's Day began just like any other. I got up early and quietly slipped out of the house, careful not to wake Megan or the girls, who would probably sleep late. Mother's Day was my time to shine. I would prepare a hearty breakfast, then a light midday snack with wine, cheese, and fruit, wrapping up the day with a steak dinner paired with a rich Cabernet. When the girls were little, they were eager helpers in the kitchen, but as teenagers, they left most of the cooking to me. On Father's Day, Megan took over breakfast duties, a gesture I appreciated, even though I often skipped the morning meal to save my appetite for later. That year, I waited for her to wake up and make breakfast, though she didn't know I usually avoided eating in the mornings. She kissed me, wished me a happy Father's Day, and went straight to the kitchen to start breakfast. Later, we had lunch at this quirky, doctor-themed cafe, which turned out to be a surprisingly fun way to spend the day. Megan has always been extremely organized, keeping a tight grip on the calendar, from holidays to the girls' schedules. She rarely forgets anything, except when I do. The next year, while reviewing the calendar, she pointed out that my birthday landed on Father's Day. I wasn't surprised and joked that I hoped I wouldn't get shortchanged on gifts. She laughed and promised something extra special. I couldn't help but wonder if she meant more than the usual birthday and Father's Day routine we'd settled into over the years. She always started something special during foreplay and saved finishing it for those 2 days. But in the weeks leading up to that Father's Day, I noticed my wife's behavior shifting. She started staying late at work, snapped at the kids and me, and dressed more provocatively. She began wearing makeup, scarves, and low-cut shirts to the office, things I'd never seen her do before. The Friday before my birthday, she showed up in a short skirt, stockings, and heels. She said she was going out with some coworkers, which caught me off guard since we usually spent Friday nights together. Asked if I'd forgotten any plans, but she said it was a last-minute thing. Her answer didn't feel right. I was thrown when she rushed out the door looking more dressed up than usual. Something about it unsettled me, though I couldn't pinpoint why. I tried to shake off the uneasy feeling, but it stuck around. She came home just before midnight, her hair tied back in a simple ponytail, nowhere near the styled look she'd had earlier. Without a word, she passed me and headed upstairs. A few minutes later, I heard the shower running. I couldn't help but wonder what had happened that made her want to shower before bed. She didn't come downstairs to say goodnight, and that's when it hit me. Something was definitely wrong. The next morning, I left for work early, but didn't get my usual goodbye kiss. That had never happened before. I felt uneasy, but tried to push it aside and focus on the day ahead. At the store, Amy, the morning barista, was already waiting by the entrance. She was a pretty redhead with striking blue eyes, and though I was happily married, I couldn't help but notice her. "Hey, Tom," she greeted me. "Morning, Amy." I replied. She could tell something was off and asked if I was okay. I told her I had a lot on my mind. She offered me a coffee, which I gratefully accepted. While she got ready for the morning rush, I checked in with my team. I made it a point to visit every department. Even though my managers were more than capable, building strong connections with the staff was important to me. My last stop was the coffee shop, where Amy had my usual black coffee waiting. "Here you go, boss," she said with a smile. "Thanks, Amy," I replied, slipping her a $2 tip. She tried to refuse, but I insisted. "I can't risk a complaint." I joked, referring to how even the smallest issue could trigger a corporate call. She laughed it off as I headed back to work, trying to focus on the day ahead. The day dragged on, with little to break the monotony. The most notable moment was when an elderly woman got caught trying to steal cat and bird food. It was exactly the kind of distraction I needed, something to pull my mind away from the strange tension hanging over my wife. When I got home, Megan and the girls were busy getting ready to head out for a concert, a plan they'd arranged weeks ago, but that I had completely forgotten. My daughter gave me a quick kiss goodbye, but Megan didn't even look my way. The feeling that something was off settled even deeper, and my mind kept replaying the oddness from the night before. Later that evening, I tried to dig a bit. I checked her email, but nothing suspicious showed up. Her cell phone was off limits, so I couldn't snoop through messages or call logs. I even peeked in a laundry basket, but since it was Saturday, she'd already done the wash. Finding nothing, I watched a movie to distract myself before going to bed, but the unease didn't fade. The next morning, my birthday and Father's Day, I follow my usual routine. Coffee, toast, and some quiet time outside soaking up the nice weather. But when I went inside to refill my cup, I found Megan and the girls already up, packing lunches. "We're going to the beach," Jill told me casually. I went upstairs to get dressed, and just as I was putting on my shirt, Jenny shouted, "Bye, Daddy." Before the front door slammed shut, I looked out the window, watching them drive away. It hit me hard. They hadn't forgotten my birthday, but I never expected Megan to be the one who did. As I stood there, my phone rang. It was my mom. "Happy birthday and Father's Day, Tommy," she said warmly. "Thanks, Mom," I replied. "She's got big plans for you today," Mom said. "No, she took the girls to the beach a while ago," I told her. "That's unusual," she said thoughtfully. "She's been acting strange lately," I admitted. "Don't worry. Maybe she's got something special planned later. Love you, Tommy." "Love you too, Mom," I said. I was still trying to make sense of what she'd said when my phone rang again. This time it was, and my assistant. "Tom, we got a problem at the shop," she said. "What happened?" I asked, my anxiety rising. Amy was pushed down the stairs by a customer. She fell hard. Might have broken her arm. "Is she okay?" "They took her to the hospital for x-rays," and replied. "That's terrible. Everything's covered on your shift," she added. "Just wanted to give you a heads up." "Thanks, Ann." I hung up, my head spinning with everything going on. Assuming Megan and the girls wouldn't be back soon, I decided to grab breakfast alone. I went to IHOP, but the place was packed with families celebrating Father's Day, and the loneliness hit me like a punch. I left quickly and ended up at a McDonald's park. Eating alone and thinking about the lake I used to take my daughters to when they were little. They'd loved those trips, but now it felt like I was a stranger to them. By 1 p.m., still no word from Megan. Dinner plans were clearly off. I found myself back at the Doctor Who Cafe, posting a picture of my lunch online. As usual, I got plenty of likes of Father's Day wishes, until I saw a comment from my mother-in-law. She assumed I was at the beach with my family, since Megan had posted a few pictures from there. I finished my sandwich and headed to a nearby sports bar for a beer, but it was packed. Instead, I slipped into a cigar lounge next door and treated myself to a $60 cigar. "Happy birthday to me," I muttered, lighting it. Sitting at the bar, the Sox game on the TV, a couple of guys invited me to join their card game. "I'm Tom," I said, shaking hands. "I'm Lance, and this is my brother Jerry," the older man said. They dealt me in, and Lance grabbed a cooler. "Help yourself to a drink, Tom." I took a Miller Lite, and Jerry asked, "No kids today? Or is the ex with someone new?" I felt a knot form in my stomach. My wife and daughters are at the beach. They didn't even remember today. "That's rough," Lance said. "My boys are in the military, my daughter's in California," Jerry said. "Got a grandson who just turned 2. I'm visiting him next week." "Sounds nice." I forced a smile. We talked a bit more. Then Jerry asked, "Do you think she really forgot? Or is she avoiding you?" I told them about the changes I'd noticed in Megan recently. They exchanged looks. "She's cheating on you," Lance said bluntly. That hit me like a slap. I tried to shake it off, but the thought stuck. Lance leaned in. "Look, I've been there, the dressing up, late nights. My wife did the same when I found out I divorced her." That was the biggest mistake I ever made, he added quietly. I frowned. How's that a mistake? If she cheats, that's it for me. Lance sighed. I paid alimony for years. I was broke. I missed her every damn day. Eventually, we got back together. Now we're happy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. If she's cheating, I don't think I could ever forgive it. I couldn't stay with someone who betrayed me like that. Lance just shook his head. You don't get second chances at love when you're our age, Tom. Lance said quietly. If you still love her, maybe you'll find a way to forgive. I nodded, still tried to take it all in as I excused myself from the table. Thanks, Lance. I'll think about it. I said, though deep down, I couldn't imagine ever forgiving her. I shook their hands and walked away. Back at my phone, more pictures popped up. Megan and the girls at the beach. My chest tightened. I told myself to just forget it. Stop playing the victim. I thought it hurt that Megan forgot my birthday and Father's Day. But worse than that was the gnawing suspicion that she'd been seeing someone else for weeks. I needed a distraction, so I decided to treat myself to dinner at my favorite steakhouse. I knew there'd be a wait, but I didn't care. After a quick shower and a jacket, I headed out. I ordered a glass of champagne as soon as I sat down. The man next to me glanced at my drink before ordering a martini. The bartender topped off my glass, and the man leaned over. Celebrating alone. Or, am I filling someone's spot? He asked. Alone. I replied. He nodded knowingly. My wife's helping our daughter. She broke her arm today. He said, you never expect your grown kids to still get hurt. I let out a short laugh. Looks like I'm flying solo for a while. My wife's caught up with other things. Just then, a little girl ran up shouting, Grandpa. She jumped into his lap, hugging him tight. A few moments later, I heard my name. Tom. I turned to see Amy standing there with a woman who looked a lot like her mother. How's your arm, Amy? I asked, forcing a smile even though I felt awkward. It's fine, she said, a faint smile on her lips. The painkillers help, but it hurt like hell when they set the bone. She introduced me to her parents, Jack and Mary, and their little girl, Mia. Where's your wife, Tom? Amy asked innocently. I'm not sure, I said. She took the girls to the beach this morning, and I haven't heard from them since. Really? On Father's Day? Amy's surprise was obvious. Mary looked shocked too. She blew you off on your day? Mary asked, disbelief coloring her voice. What kind of person does that? I shrugged, not ready to explain. Forget about her, Mary said firmly. You're with us now. I finally understood Jack's earlier mention of red rage. I don't think I can, I said quietly. Come on, don't let it get to you, Jack said with a grin. It's your day too. But it's your day, Jack, I protested. I don't want to crash your celebration. Nonsense, he replied. This is our day too. Grandpa, Mia called, cutting our talk short. I know. Pumpkin, Jack said with a chuckle. I'm in trouble later. Daddy, Mia said, looking up at him. Jack winked at me as their buzzer went off. Pay up, Tom, and meet us at the table, he said. I slipped a 20 on the counter and followed them. Sorry if my parents are a bit much, Amy apologized as I sat down. No worries, I said. Better than being alone. During dinner, we swapped stories about our kids. Mia giggled at the funny stories about her mom's childhood. Then my phone buzzed. I glanced at it. Megan calling. I let it ring, face down on the table. Mary noticed. Your wife? Yeah, I said quietly. It's more than you think, isn't it? Amy asked softly. I think so, I whispered, but I don't have proof. Mary glanced at Jack. Everyone makes mistakes. Maybe you can forgive her. Amy shot her a look, but I stayed silent. I signaled the waiter and paid the bill. Thanks for inviting me, Jack, I said, shaking his hand. Pleasure, he replied. Happy Father's Day. Outside, I still didn't have the proof I needed, but 2 people had suggested I might forgive her. I wasn't sure I could. When I got home, the girls ran up to me, apologizing for forgetting Father's Day. Don't worry about it, I said, hugging them both. I didn't expect you to remember, Jill said, running inside to tell Megan. It's your birthday today, she told her. We didn't know. I'm so sorry. Megan broke down, burying her face in my chest. You must hate us, she whispered. No, sweetheart. I love you both, I said softly. Mom suggested the beach. We didn't think, she trailed off. It's fine, I said. Don't worry about it. I didn't mention the anger I felt toward her. That was something I'd deal with later. Let's go inside, I said quietly. After changing into something comfortable, I came downstairs to find Megan sitting alone, crying. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't answer. I walked out to the deck, cracked open a beer, and tried to focus on anything but her tears. Then I heard the sliding door open. Tom, What's his name? I interrupted, still not looking at her. She said nothing. Tom, what's his name? The man you were with on Friday? My anger surged as soon as she didn't deny it. That was it. I knew I was going to need a divorce lawyer. Nearly 2 decades of marriage gone. I had been such a fool. My mind raced, wondering how long this had been going on, whether he was the first, or if I even knew him. Betrayal has a way of making everything spiral. I made up my mind. I'd request a paternity test for the girl during the divorce. It would give me some peace and force Megan to face the consequences of her actions. The rest of the night, I scoured divorce laws online. By the time I finally drifted off, it was on the couch. That's how I spent my birthday. I woke early to find Megan still in bed, curled up around her pillow, looking peaceful. She looked beautiful, even though she wasn't mine anymore. I grabbed what I needed, showered quickly, and slipped out without waking her. As I walked down the hall, Jill stood there waiting. "How bad is it, Dad?" Jill asked, worry written all over her face. I let out a long, heavy sigh. "This is as bad as it gets." "Can you forgive her? It's just one day, right?" Jill pressed on, but I shook my head. "She didn't just forget my birthday or Father's Day," I said, my voice cracking. "She cheated on me." Jill's eyes widened in disbelief, her voice barely steady. "No, Daddy, she wouldn't do that." "She did, but I'm not going to forgive it," I said firmly. Jill hesitated, then spoke slowly, as if trying to make me see reason. "Think about it. She's been acting different lately. On Friday, she got a tan, did her hair, and dressed like she was heading to a club. That wasn't for me." I nodded, feeling my frustration deepen. She barely spoke to me all weekend. She was clearly avoiding me. Jill's tone softened, quiet but persistent. "When does she ever take you to the beach without me? What if it wasn't an affair, just a mistake? Can't you find a way to forgive her?" I shook my head again. "I don't think I can. Look at her actions. She hasn't acted like she loves me in weeks. When Grandma asked why she didn't call Grandpa on Father's Day, she screamed so loud we thought he was having a heart attack." "Dad, he's fine," Jill said quickly. But Mom was sobbing. She kept saying she loved you over and over. Jenny even wanted to call an ambulance for her. I don't know what to say. "You can't cheat and still claim to love someone. That's selfish, not love." She chose him over me. Jill hugged me tight, tears streaming down her face. "Please don't divorce her." "I need to go to work," I said gently, trying to hold myself together. "We'll talk more later." I turned to leave as Jill headed to Jenny's room. "I'll tell her what we talked about." "No more secrets," she called back. I couldn't stop wondering how long we'd still be a family. Lisa hadn't reached out. Too busy, I supposed. I kept my cool, the only unusual thing being the paperwork for Amy's accident compensation. I hoped she wasn't too stressed. Amy came by to sign the forms. Since she couldn't use her left hand, I filled out the accident report for her. "How's everything at home?" she asked cautiously. "Not good," I replied. Well, I confronted Lisa about the affair. She didn't deny it. "Damn, Tom. I'm sorry," Amy said. "I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I get it. My ex cheated on me while I was pregnant. I kicked him out before our daughter was born. Your mom said she forgave Lisa last night. It felt strange," Amy added. "Yeah, I noticed. Makes you wonder if one of them was cheating too," she mused. "I am sorry, imaterd." "You don't have to be," Amy said. "They seem happy enough, so they're free to do what they want." "I don't trust liars," I said flatly. After work, Lisa wasn't home. I guess she was with her new guy, and it pissed me off. I drove to her grocery store and saw her car parked. To my surprise, she was sitting inside with a younger man. When she saw me, she shouted no and jumped out, but I didn't stick around. If she wanted to cheat, let her have him. I was done. I packed a bag at home, planning to stay at a hotel until I found my own place. Before I could leave, Jenny and Jill ran to me, crying and begging me to stay. "Sorry, girls. Your mom was about to cheat on me," I told them. "Dad, this has to be a mistake," Jenny pleaded, desperation clear in her voice. "I saw what I saw," I said firmly. "She was with a man after work. Why else would she be in his car?" "Please, Daddy, don't break up the family," Jenny sobbed. "Your mom did this, not me," I said, hugging them both tightly. "I love you both. I'll stay in touch every day." I kissed their cheeks and left them crying in the bedroom. In the garage, Lisa nearly ran me off the road. Speeding away, I shook my head but kept driving. The following week was hell. Lisa called every hour for 3 days straight. She must have taken vacation since she couldn't call from work. Her voicemails were desperate, but I deleted every one. After a few days, my mother, Mother-in-law, both daughters, and Lisa's sister begged me to talk to her. They all said it wasn't as bad as I thought, but when I asked if she cheated, they went silent. They all knew, but wouldn't admit it. I stopped answering calls altogether. I told the girls I'd talk to them, but not about their mother. They didn't believe me until I hung up on them twice. By the end of the week, I had met with a lawyer. I wanted a 50-50 split of the house, with Lisa staying until the girls moved out, then selling it. The lawyer said I could get more, but I didn't care. Best part, no alimony. She made enough to support herself, and I wasn't about to fund her and her lover. The problem? I didn't have solid proof of the affair. Without it, the judge might just call it irreconcilable differences. But the lawyer had the divorce papers ready, and I felt relief. No forced mediation, no drawn-out battle, just a fair split. Lisa fought back when she got the papers, claiming she only slept with one man the Friday before my birthday. Her family turned on me again, calling me the bad guy for not letting her explain, as if any explanation would make this okay. My mother called me weak for giving up on my marriage. My mother-in-law said I'd broken my vows too. My daughters begged me to stay, telling me the divorce would scar them forever. It felt surreal. I hadn't done anything wrong, yet I was the one getting blamed. I even asked my daughters for DNA tests, telling them it was a court order. Anything to prove I wasn't a villain here. Then Lisa sent me a letter. She admitted the affair but tried to minimize it, said it was a one-time thing with some 21-year-old, that he was worthless. She even claimed I told that guy never to contact her after I caught her. None of it mattered. She cheated. That letter was everything I needed. Proof on paper. I didn't have to drag the affair into court. The judge approved the divorce within 60 days. Of course, I was branded the bad guy. My family cut me off, but I stayed firm. I called my daughters every day, left voicemail after voicemail, but they never answered. I refused to let their silence be my fault. On Sundays, I started running into Amy. It was just a coincidence at first, bumping into her and her daughter Mia at the local cafe. I invited them to join me, and we ended up talking for a while Mia played with my iPad. Amy tried to comfort me, saying my daughters would come around eventually, though I worried Lisa's influence might be too strong. The next Sunday, we met again. Amy teased me about stalking her. I laughed and said I just liked the peaceful mornings. It wasn't planned, but somehow those Sunday meetings became routine. Her company was easy to enjoy. Mia's energy was a bright distraction from everything else. On the day my divorce was finalized, I went back to the house where Lisa and I had spent nearly 20 years. She opened the door with a face blotched from crying. Without a word, she motioned me inside. "Are the girls home?" I asked. "At the school play," she replied, her voice breaking. "I know why you're here," she said quietly. "Really?" I shot back, a bitter smile curling my lips. "You waited too long to stop this." "I knew you'd try to get me back," she admitted, "but I couldn't let that happen." "You broke my heart," I said flatly. "I'm not forgiving you." "Tom, it was just one mistake. Why can't you forgive me? Didn't you love me like you used to?" she cried, tears streaming down her face. I laughed darkly. "Did you love me when you were flirting with him? When you ignored me on my birthday? If that's love, I don't know what it is." "I never wanted any of this," she sobbed. "I never wanted a wife who cheated." I snapped. "But here we are," she gasped, but I cut her off. "Not only did you break my heart, you turned my family against me. I'll never forgive you for that." "It's your fault for overreacting," she shot back defensively. My anger flared. "If you don't get my family to apologize, I'll tell every man you date what you did. I'll make sure no one ever trusts you again." "You can't blame me for this," she pleaded. "Oh, really? Did I cheat on you?" I retorted. "You've taught our daughters that cheating is okay. They'll grow up thinking it's acceptable, and I'll be the villain. Well, I'm done. I'm not playing the fool while you chase some guy's attention." I pulled my hand from hers. "Rot in hell," I spat, turning away as she cried behind me. A few weeks later, Amy stopped by my office. "Got a minute, Tom?" she asked with a light voice. "Sure," I replied, unsure of what was coming. "Does the company have rules about dating coworkers?" she asked, and I knew exactly what she meant. "I was hoping to ask you out," I admitted, smiling. "We do have a strict maltreatment policy," I said jokingly. "If things go south, it's on us, not the company." "Good," she said, handing me a folded note with her address and number. "Dinner tomorrow night? Mia's coming too." I grinned. "I'm looking forward to it." She left with a light step, and I couldn't wait for the evening to come. Later, I left a voicemail for my daughters, telling them I missed them and sharing a little about my life. I knew it might stir things up, but I was ready to move on. Amy seemed like the right place to start. She wasn't just beautiful. She was genuine. I met her sweet daughter and her warm parents. It felt like a fresh start, something I desperately needed. Then, just 15 minutes later, I got a text from Lisa. "I can't believe you're already dating. You're a fool." I laughed quietly to myself, knowing how out of touch she was. I wasn't mourning what we'd lost. At 41, I was still young enough to begin again. Amy was in her early 30s, and maybe she wanted kids someday, but for now, she seemed serious, not just looking for a fling. That evening, I got ready for dinner with her. I felt pretty good about where I was, fit, successful, and ready to start a new chapter in life. But as I thought about jumping back into dating, it hit me how much everything had changed. Dating wasn't the same once you were out of a marriage. Before, it had always felt easy, almost automatic. I even caught myself worrying about how to impress someone new, which felt strange after so long. Still, I pushed that anxiety aside. I was determined to move forward, even if it meant feeling awkward in the beginning. So I grabbed a bottle of wine, a bouquet of flowers, and a stuffed bear for Mia. I figured winning over Amy's daughter wouldn't hurt. When Amy opened the door, I was taken aback by how stunning she looked. Those fiery red curls framed her face perfectly, and her sundress stopped just above her knees, showing off her long legs. She was barefoot, toes painted bright pink. "Do I pass the test?" she teased, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Absolutely," I said without hesitation. She laughed and took the flowers and wine from me. "Mia's watching TV. Go say hi to her. I'm sure she'll love the bear." While Amy headed to the kitchen, I knelt beside Mia. "Hey there, sweetie. I brought you a bear." Mia hesitated for a second, then smiled, grabbed the bear, and dashed off to show Amy. That whole moment pulled at me, reminded me of when my own daughters were that little. A wave of nostalgia washed over me. "Are you okay?" Amy asked, noticing the distant look on my face. I forced a smile, just thinking about my girls when they were little. "Is it really that bad?" she asked softly. "They won't talk to me. Lisa turned them against me. But I'm not giving up. I send messages every day," I explained. "I'm really sorry, Tom," Amy said quietly. "I know it's tough, but I also believe they listen to your messages." Later, I told her about our dinner plans, and Megan texted me. "You're in a hole for moving on so fast." I joked back, "Sorry, is that too fast?" Amy bit her lip, looking both cute and uncertain. "Maybe, but I'd be happy to figure it out with you." She smiled and took my hand. "Dinner's ready. Hope you like pasta with meat sauce." "Sounds perfect," I grinned. I also brought garlic bread, so get ready for some serious couch time later. Mia giggled, and I was surprised by how relaxed and open Amy had become. Catching my awkward face, she said, "Tom, we're both adults here. I like you, and I'm not shy about it." "You think I'm hot stuff?" I asked, still trying to wrap my head around how our conversation had flipped. "Yep," she said with a playful sparkle. "You've been causing quite a stir at the store, good looking, in shape, smart, and we all know how you feel about loyalty." I sat there feeling better than I had in a long time. "So, I'm getting in line early," she added with a wink. I squeezed her hand. "I like you too." Mia, clearly noticing she wasn't the center of attention anymore, piped up, "Sketty's my favorite." "I love Sketty too." I smiled. "The fattier the better." I spotted the Parmesan on the table. "You must have really stinky cheese," she laughed. "It's not stinky, it's Parm," I corrected. "Parm, stinky cheese," I teased, dramatically sniffing it. "Wow, this is really stinky." Amy shook her head as I handed the jar to Mia. She sniffed, shrugged, and poured it all over her pasta. We kept things light, chatting about Mia's preschool and her little circle of friends. Mia had a ton of stories, and I soaked up every minute. As the evening wore on, Amy got quieter, just watching Mia and me talk. When it was time to clean up, she started tidying the kitchen, and I offered to help. "No need," she laughed. "She hasn't told you about her favorite TV shows yet." After getting Mia settled for the night, Amy joined me on the couch with a glass of wine. She leaned back, sighed, and propped her feet up. "I love being a mom," she said softly, "but sometimes this right here is the best part of my day." Without thinking, I wrapped my arm around her as she relaxed against me. "It's harder with two," I said, thinking about my own experience raising daughters. "Definitely," she agreed with a knowing smile. After a quiet moment, I asked, "Do you think your girls will ever come around?" "I hope so," she said thoughtfully. "It's still new for them. I'm doing my best, but it's going to take time." She kissed my cheek gently. "You're a great father, Tom. Don't give up on them." She put her glass down, her expression turning serious. Tom, I've already told you how I feel. I'm not into games. I want us to keep seeing each other. And that means being exclusive. I have Mia to think about, and she needs a steady father figure in her life. I need a partner, someone dependable. I opened my mouth to respond, but she held up a hand. I know what you're going to say. Usually, this conversation scares the guy off, but I don't think you're that kind of man. I'm giving you the chance to back out if you're just looking to date around. I'm not your girl, but if you're serious, then I'm here. Wow, I said, surprised. Was that rehearsed? Her face faltered for a moment, and I thought she might think I was going to reject her. I hurried on. Amy, we've known each other for years. These last few weeks have been great. I'm a family guy. Always have been. I don't really know how to be single, and honestly, dating again scares the hell out of me. If Lisa had been faithful, I'd still be married. I'm not looking for something casual. She smiled and squeezed my hand. You're a good man, Tom. Smart, funny, and you make the best spaghetti I've ever had. She laughed, playfully shoving me. I'd like to be your girlfriend. Let's make something real out of this, for both of us and for Mia. That night, even though it was tempting, we didn't sleep together. I felt it was better to take things slow. Amy had laid her feelings out clearly, and I wanted to respect that. A few days later, I got a surprise when a guy applied for the manager position at the store. I didn't know his name, but the moment I saw him, I recognized him. The same man who'd helped ruin my marriage. He was interviewing for the night manager role, and I told and I hired him immediately. On his second night, I waited in the parking lot as he arrived for his shift. Quietly, I slipped a 40-inch TV into the back of his car, a model I knew he had in stock. The next morning, I timed it so I could catch him right when his shift ended. I casually walked with him to his car, chatting about his team, when I spotted the television in the back seat. Jeff, I said, feigning surprise, did you buy that TV before your shift? We're not even open yet. No, Tom, that's not mine, he stammered, clearly flustered. I don't know how it got there. We need to head back to the store, I said calmly. He insisted on checking the security footage, so I played along and led him to the security room. I had already disabled the cameras, and when he saw the system was down, panic washed over him. I called the cops. Though he was convicted of a misdemeanor, he didn't serve jail time. Community service and a fine were the result, which was more than I'd spent on the TV. The company tightened security, but Jeff never figured out I was behind it all. A week later, Amy and I were outside my office. When I pulled up, she greeted me with a warm kiss. Are we still on for dinner tonight? She asked. Definitely, I replied. I'm making something special. Just then, Megan's voice cut through the moment from behind us. Is that? I turned, surprised. Amy stayed calm as she faced Megan. Megan, what do you want? Amy's tone was sharp. I've been trying to call you. Did you block my number? Megan crossed her arms, frowning. Yes, Amy said coldly. After your 30 messages calling me in a hole for living my life. So what do you want? I need to talk about the girls and their college plans, Megan said, her expression softening slightly. They can go wherever they want. I've already set aside the money for them, I said flatly. I want to be involved, but since you've poisoned them against me, they won't even talk. Megan's voice rose. They're just worried you won't pay tuition. Of course I will. I still love them despite everything, I insisted. Because you can't keep your legs closed, I shot back. I lost them in the divorce, Megan retorted. Amy couldn't hold back a laugh, but Megan shot her a glare. It was one mistake, Megan said, trying to justify herself. One mistake that destroyed my family, I said coldly. You should still be my husband, Megan argued, delusional. I muttered, you ruined everything. If I find out you're seeing anyone else, I'll make sure he knows exactly what kind of woman you are, Megan yelled as I started to walk away. Amy shoved her against the car, jabbing a finger in Megan's face. Stay away from my man. You tossed him aside, and I picked him up. I rushed over, pulling Amy off her to stop the fight. Let it go, Amy. She's not worth it. Megan kept shouting insults as I walked away. Please, Megan, just go away. It's over, and it's your fault, I told her. I turned back to Amy. Noticing she was breathing heavily, she apologized, but I couldn't help teasing her a bit. I have to admit, I like it when women fight over me. I grinned. Does wonders for my ego. We laughed and went inside. Later that night, my phone rang. It was my mom. She barely spoke before the line cut off. I tried calling back, but got no answer. A quick call to emergency confirmed paramedics were already on their way. Without thinking, I bolted from the store, telling Ann to cover for me. Amy called after me, but I didn't stop to explain. I ran straight to my car. By the time I reached my mom's house, the ambulance was already leaving. I followed it to the hospital. At the emergency room, I learned she had passed before they even arrived. She must have fainted while we were on the phone. Sitting alone in the waiting room, tears streaming down my face, I thought about our last conversation. What was she trying to say? Was it, am I in trouble? Or am I having a heart attack? I'll never know. My phone rang again. It was Amy. Hey, I said quietly. My mom just died. Oh, Tom, I'm so sorry. Amy replied softly. Yeah, thanks, I said, my voice thick. I don't think I'll be great company tonight. No, I'm coming to you. You need me, Tom. Let me come, please. I didn't want to be alone. Okay, I agreed. I'll be home soon. I'll see you when you get here. After hanging up, instead of heading straight home, I drove to my old house. I had to tell the girls, whether they wanted to see me or not. As I pulled up, I saw both their cars in the driveway. My stomach sank. I never thought the first thing I'd have to tell them would be something like this. I didn't care that I didn't live there anymore. I entered the garage code and stepped inside. Lisa's car wasn't there. That was a relief. I wasn't sure I was ready to face her just yet. The house was quiet when I went upstairs and found the girls' rooms. As I walked in, Jill called out, Daddy. Jenny's voice came sharp from behind her. What do you want? She sneered. Then she added, Did you come here to beg? I cut her off. Well, you can go to hell. I didn't hesitate. Both girls froze, shock written all over their faces. I said, Grandma had a heart attack this morning. She passed away. I wanted them to hear it from me. As I turned to leave, I muttered under my breath, Now I'm going to hell. Jenny yelled after me, but I didn't stop. I walked straight to my car and drove away. I ended up at the small lake where I'd spent so much time with the girls. The air was cold, the water just beginning to thaw. Perfectly still, I sat on a bench and cried, not just for my mom, but for the distance that had grown between me and my daughters. Jenny's anger echoed in my mind. It was clear she didn't want me around. I couldn't help but wonder where I'd gone wrong. What had I done to make them hate me so much? Megan was the one who destroyed our marriage. Why couldn't they see that? I don't know how long I sat there before I heard footsteps. Turning, I saw Megan and the girls approaching. How did you find me here? I asked, eyes fixed on the water. You didn't turn off the Find My Phone app, Megan said quietly. Tom, I'm really sorry about your mom, she added. I spat back. Yeah, well, do you regret losing her or the fact that you turned her against me? She died without a chance to make up with me. Megan didn't answer. Leave me alone. I can't deal with you right now. I said, I'll never forgive you for what you did to me. The last time we spoke, she said she wouldn't talk to me again unless I backed out of the divorce. She didn't even say she loved me when she hung up. I'm so sorry, Tom, for everything, Megan said softly, then walked away. Then Jenny spoke up. Dad, we're sorry too. Please forgive us for being witches. I turned, and both girls rushed into my arms. Wrapping me tight, we cried together, just a long, silent moment of grief and healing. It's not my fault, girls, I said, trying to make them understand. Why can't you see that your mom is the reason we're not together? We're sorry, Dad, Jill said, her voice thick with emotion. We just thought you should forgive her. She still loves you, it's obvious. Not enough to stay faithful, I replied bitterly. I'm sorry, girls, really sorry. I added, holding them tighter. We embraced again while Megan watched from her car parked a little ways off. Girls, I need you, I said, my heart heavy. You'll be leaving for college soon, and I'm going to miss you so much. We've wasted too much time. We get it, Daddy, Jenny said softly. We're not going to shut you out anymore, Jill added. I just wish Grandma had a chance to make things right, I said. Daddy, can we come with you? Jenny asked. We haven't seen your new house yet. Maybe we could grab some pizza? Sure, I said, trying to smile through the sadness. Tell your mom, and let's go. When we pulled into my driveway, I saw Amy's car. I'd completely forgotten she was coming over. Looks like you're going to meet Amy, I told the girls. Is she your girlfriend? They asked together, making me laugh. Yeah, I said. I mean, we've only just started dating. Look at you blush, Jenny teased with a grin. The girls jumped out and ran to Amy's door, bombarding her with questions. I could tell Amy wasn't quite sure what to make of the sudden attention. Girls, give her a break, I laughed. Let's carry her inside, and I'll introduce you all properly, I said. They gave me quick kisses on the cheek and rushed off. I walked over to Amy, who looked surprised. Sorry about all that, I said as she opened the door. She smiled warmly and kissed my cheek. Your daughters? She asked. Come on, I said. Let me properly introduce you. I must look a mess, Amy said, glancing at me. I laughed. You look fine. They'll like you. Jill, Jenny, this is Amy, I called. They both hugged Amy and, as usual, cheekily told her, "You're super hot." Jill jumped up and said, "Good for you, Daddy." Amy laughed, and I was too stunned to say anything. "Let's take a quick tour of the house," I said. "Then I need to handle some things for Grandma's funeral." "Tom, I'll order the pizzas while you show them around," Amy offered. "Sounds perfect," I said. "You're reading my mind." "Oh," the girls said in unison, eyes wide. I shook my head as Amy smiled. I decided to wait until the next morning to share the news about my mom. I'd write an obituary for the paper and post the funeral details on Facebook after visiting the funeral home the next day. After dinner, we spent hours telling Amy stories about my mom. The girls, in their mischievous way, added a few embarrassing tales about me to keep Amy entertained. It wasn't my fault the pier was wet. I didn't mean to fall in the lake. I defended myself. Before long, I noticed the time. It was already 10. "Girls, time's getting away from us," I said. "It's getting late." They frowned. "Can we stay the night?" they asked. "I don't have the guest room set up yet," I replied. "Okay, here's the deal." I tried to lighten the mood. "I'll pick you up in the morning, and we'll go out for breakfast, but if you don't mind, I could really use your help sorting through Grandma's things." "Of course, Dad. We'll help however we can," they replied. "Thank you," I said, feeling grateful for their support. Then I turned to Amy. "Would you like to go for a ride? Or do you need to head back to Mia?" "She's with my parents tonight," Amy said. Jill suddenly sat up straight. "Who's Mia?" "She's my 4-year-old daughter," I explained. Both girls squealed. "Oh my God, I can't wait to meet her," Jenny exclaimed. Amy laughed at their excitement. "I promise soon," I said. "Okay, let's go," I added. After we got back to my house, Amy and I settled on the couch. "They're great girls," Amy said with a smile. "I'm glad we're finally getting along." I sighed. "I just wish it didn't take losing my mom for this to happen." Amy snuggled closer, and I wrapped my arms around her. I fell asleep holding her, feeling the warmth of her embrace. When I woke the next morning, Amy had covered us with a blanket and was still curled against me. I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt so close to someone. I kissed her forehead softly. "Sorry, I fell asleep on you," I whispered. She mumbled, stretching. "It's fine. Baby, you've had a long, emotional day. Would you like to join me and the girls for breakfast?" I asked. "Only if I can bring Mia. My parents have plans this morning," she replied. "Of course, my daughters will love her," I said, smiling. I texted the girls and asked them to meet us at IHOP. When I walked in holding Mia's hand, the girls immediately rushed over. Before long, Mia was lifted into the air, twirling and laughing, surrounded by kisses. "I have to go to the bathroom," Mia squealed. The girls chorused, "We'll take her," and hurried her off. Amy tapped my shoulder playfully and kissed my cheek. "I hope it stays that way for years to come," she said. It felt a little unnerving to hear her say that, considering we'd only been on one official date, but I had to admit I was starting to feel the same way. As we sat down to eat, Mia and the girls talked nonstop. Mia asked so many questions about their lives that even the girls seemed surprised by her curiosity. She wasn't just talking about herself. She genuinely wanted to know everything about them. The girls were pros at interacting with kids. They'd been neighborhood babysitters after all. They knew all the best shows and movies, and Mia was soaking it all up. I noticed how quickly Mia bonded with Amy, too. Despite the rocky history with my daughters, there was no jealousy or hostility. The girls had warmed up to Amy almost immediately. They hadn't spoken to me for months after the divorce, yet they embraced Amy without hesitation. I didn't quite understand it, and I knew I'd have to ask them about it later. After making a few calls, sorting through my mom's things, and visiting the funeral home, I finally had a moment to relax. The girls came over for dinner. Amy and Mia had left after breakfast to give us some space. Amy didn't want to be around during the emotional stuff at my mom's house. She thought it would be too hard for Mia with all the questions while we were still processing everything. Then Jenny suddenly asked, her tone serious, "Daddy, are you in love with Amy?" "We've only been out a few times," I said, trying to keep it light. "It's too soon to say." Jill raised an eyebrow. "Okay, Dad, have you ever seen those cartoons where the girl looks at her prince with hearts floating around?" I nodded, chuckling as I bit into my pizza. "Well, she looks at you like that," Jill said, "like she's got hearts in her head." Before I could say anything, both girls looked at me and said in unison, "We like her." I went from amused to frustrated. I tossed my pizza slice back on the plate, wiped my hands, and walked to the sink to collect myself. "Daddy," Jenny said softly, How can you break my heart all this time? Then tell me you like her? What did I do to make you shut me out, ignore me, and tell me to go to hell when I needed you? How many times did I cry over messages you didn't care to read? Jill spoke quietly. Mom made us. What? I asked, stunned. It started when Mom said, if you want to be a family again, come back to me. We're sorry. The words hit me like a punch. I turned around and saw a tear on Jenny's cheek as she rushed into my arms. Dad, we're sorry, she whispered. When it didn't work, Mom told us you left us and wouldn't pay for college, Jill explained. She said your messages were just a way to look good in the divorce, Jenny added. And you believe that? I asked, my voice thick with disbelief. How could we not? Jill said softly. We thought you were being unreasonable. What about me? I asked. Would you let her boyfriend cheat on you? They didn't answer. Where do we draw the line? I asked firmly. They both started crying, and we held each other again. The weight lifted, and I felt a mixture of anger, sorrow, and relief. I whispered softly, holding them close, I'm sorry, girls. I missed you so much. After a while, I sighed and said, it's time to go home. You've got school tomorrow. Don't forget to tell Mom about the wake and funeral. We hugged one last time before they left. Watching them drive away, I looked up at the sky and whispered, you didn't have to go, Mom, but thanks for bringing them back to me. I'll miss you. The wake was tough, especially since I've always felt awkward around bodies. Mom looked peaceful, and part of me felt relieved knowing she'd be with Dad again. He passed a few years ago and never wanted a traditional wake. He thought it was strange to gather around a corpse. Mom had planned everything herself, even picked out her own casket. I was standing near the front when Megan and my girls arrived. They wrapped me in warm, tear-filled hugs. Megan hung back, giving me some space. After the prayer, Lisa placed something in the casket, a photo of the three of us, with Lisa holding Mom and our babies in her arms. It made me tear up. I gently laid it next to Mom's hands, and for the first time that day, I lost it. Later, the priest began the service, and Lisa stayed at the back, chatting quietly with people. You can't be part of a family that long without forming bonds. The immediate family was supposed to sit in the front row. My girls were on my right, Amy on my left, but something fell off. I looked around and saw Megan standing at the back, wiping her eyes. It didn't feel right. Mom would have wanted Lisa up front, too. She was like a daughter to her. I walked toward the back of the room, and people followed. I held out my hand to Megan. Come here, I said. You don't have to stay back there. Megan sobbed and hugged me. Thank you, she whispered. We went to the front where Uncle John gave her his seat. Amy kissed my cheek and whispered, You're a good man, Tom. It felt strange holding Amy's hand with Lisa only a few feet away, but I hoped I wouldn't regret it later. As I said goodbye to the last guests, Lisa approached, Amy beside me. I wondered how Megan would react. I hoped there wouldn't be tension. Tom, thank you for letting me be part today, Lisa said. I love you like a daughter. It was the right thing to do. I offered Lisa a ride in the limo the next day. She hugged me and cried. I felt Amy's hand on my waist, sensing the tension. Breaking the hug, Megan said, If you don't want anything from me, I'll go home. She smiled briefly at Amy. I'm glad you're here for him. You may not know it, but he was a mama's boy. It's going to be really hard on him without her. With that, she left the room. Amy hugged me. Let's get you home. Back at the house, Amy sat at the table with a cold beer. Things with Lisa went better than expected. I was worried she'd start something with you, I said, relieved. Well, the girls helped with that, Amy replied. We just need to get through tomorrow. I hope she was right. I wasn't sure why I felt so uneasy about Megan. Maybe I was just paranoid. Will you stay the night with me? I asked. She smiled, took my hand, and said, You couldn't kick me out if you tried. We didn't make love, but having her spooned up against me was the best sleep I'd had since the divorce. As we waited for prayer to begin, Lisa whispered, I'm not going to cause trouble. I know I lied, she scoffed. I'm just comfortable. How do you think I feel? I'm an outcast here. No one thinks that about you, I said, trying to reassure her. Susan, Mom's friend, patted me on the shoulder. Your mom was wonderful. We'll all miss her. After the funeral, we went to Mom's favorite Polish restaurant. Lisa seemed uncomfortable, searching for a seat. I led her to the table where Amy and the girls were sitting. Lisa, you'll always be family. No matter the divorce, you're welcome here. She thanked me, a tear rolling down her cheek. I'm not sure when I finally got over the pain Lisa caused, but eventually I did. Life went on. The girls went to college and Skyped with me every week. Amy and I are still together, and I'm close to proposing. Megan and I still talk occasionally, and we're on good terms. She's dating a nice guy, and I hope things work out for her. Some may think I should have forgiven Lisa, but I just couldn't. Maybe I'm the bad guy, but I can live with that.